Hi, everyone. Welcome to Truth Thursdays. I'm Cindy Prost, your hostess. I'm glad that you're here this morning. I'm going to get started right away because this one might be a little bit longer than 15 minutes. Welcome, and I hope that my message reaches you right where you're at today, that you feel heard, understood, and loved, which is the subject of the message today. Is I believe that every human being, their greatest desire is to be seen, heard, and loved. And I believe that oftentimes we don't feel that we're worthy of being seen or worthy of being heard or worthy of being loved if we are suffering, if we have issues, if we are dealing with challenges, if we are hurting, or if we have regrets, or whatever it is that we are experiencing, we feel like we are not capable of being loved. And I want to prove you wrong today. I want to break those lies and replace them with truth. That's what I'm all about. I'm about encouraging you in the truth and eradicating the lies, because I see how it affects everybody. I see how lies come in and destroy something that could be perfectly good. So let's get right to it. If you feel like you can't be seen because of what you're going through, I believe if you can't be loved, if you can't be heard, I believe that some of the influences in that are social media. That social media doesn't share all of the pain out there. Social media doesn't share the challenges that you're going through. Social media is like a what's that movie from the 70s or 80s? Anyways, it doesn't matter. But I think it's like a fake realm. I think it's like it's an opportunity to share the best of the best, because that's what we want to present to the world. And it's unrealistic. Can be inauthentic, and it can be downright painful for others to see a feed that is filled with joy and happiness and puppies and rainbows, because that's not where most of us live. I'm thrilled for the authentic posts out there that you are truly happy. That's not my point here. My point here is that when we are hurting, we feel alone. And that is something I want to address today, that we are not alone in our pain. In fact, what I want to share with you today, and this is going to be kind of general. I'm not covering all of the areas of pain in people's lives, but I'm covering some bigger issues, so that you can see that whatever it is you're experiencing, others are with you. So let me get right to it, and I apologize for having to look down, but this is where my notes are. I don't have it memorized. 2.4 million, and these statistics that I'm giving you were basically from Google. I Googled what are the statistics for this, what are the statistics for that, and the numbers that they gave me are the numbers that I wrote down. So I'm not claiming that these are exact numbers. 2.4 million marriages end in divorce. 2.4 million people are going through the pain of a divorce, are going through the reality of a broken heart, are going through the destruction of a family. You're not alone. 1 in 5 girls and 1 in, I'm going to cry, and 1 in 20 boys have endured sexual abuse. Get it together, Cindy. You are not alone. Incest is not a subject that has statistics, but it is prevalent. I know I have led groups, support groups for years and years and years, and it is a prevalent issue in the life of many, many, many people. Every 60 seconds, 20 people, mostly women, will endure domestic violence. You're not alone. It's happening. It's happening around you. In the latest statistics for abortions, the numbers were reported from 2014. There were 652,639 abortions in 2014. I'm certain that the numbers have risen since then. That's a lot of hurting women, potentially a lot of hurting women. Some women maybe don't give it a thought, or it's whatever, but I know firsthand from people who have shared with me that it is a lifetime of regret and shame. And you are not alone in that. You are not suffering alone in that. 1 out of 6 women have been raped. 15 million suffer from alcoholism. Your neighbors, the people in your church pews. This is not just you. 21.5 million battle from substance abuse. There is drug addiction. There is pain in that. There is agony in that. You are not alone. 1 in 5 suffer from mental illness. You are not alone. 110.6 million people, 110, okay, so 110.6 million people are unmarried. Your sad, lonely heart is not the only one. There are so many people who are going through what you're going through, who want what you want, who don't want what you don't want, who wish that such and such never happened, or that you wish that such and such would happen. You are not alone in that. 135,000 children are adopted each year, which means 135,000 children have the potential of going through life feeling rejected, abandoned, and worthless. I have friends who have been adopted, and these are very, very common emotions. Even if their adopted family is loving and precious and has done everything they can to raise you as their own, there's a deep-seated fear of abandonment and a feeling of rejection. You're not alone. I haven't talked about homelessness. I haven't talked about bullying in your life. I haven't talked about other issues. That doesn't mean that they're not important. It just means for the sake of time, I covered some of the bigger issues. 2.7 million people have considered suicide. 3 million cases of depression are reported each year. You're not alone in that. There are some hurting, wounded people out there. Doesn't it help to know that when you are at such a low place that you aren't alone? It's my whole purpose of this message. Okay, I've done that. Okay. So my point is, a lot of people are suffering from a lot of different things. And the problem with feeling alone is that you're isolated. You think no one will understand, and you fear being judged. So you keep it to yourself. You keep it to yourself, thinking that that is the way that you're supposed to go through this. And I want to change that up and say it's not the way, because when we're in our own head, are the messages that we start off with, like, let's say we start off with a thought, and it becomes a second thought and a third thought and a fourth thought. And before you know it, you are on this rabbit trail of crazy thinking, and nobody is there to speak truth into you when you're isolated. Nobody is there to share with you a different perspective. Nobody is there with you when you're isolated. So what I want to say is isolation is a method of the enemy to get you from healing, to get you from being validated, from truth. It's his scheme and his method to keep you from getting better. So if shame and isolation are things that he tries to do, actually I want to talk about, and some of you that know me or have been in some of my groups know that I share something from Brene Brown, who is a public speaker. She has been on TED Talks. She talks about shame and lots of other things. Go and check her out. She's awesome. She says that if you want to grow shame in a petri dish, 3 things that you need to grow it, to nourish it, to make it flourish are secrecy, silence, and judgment. So isn't that exactly what happens when we're alone in our thinking? When we are feeling like nobody would understand us or nobody is going through what I'm going through? Isn't that shame? And isn't being secret about it growing it? And isn't being silent about it growing it? And isn't the fear of judgment growing it? I have a remedy for shame and for isolation, and it's validation. It is being told, me too, I get it. But the only way that you can experience that is by sharing, is by talking about it, is by bringing it out into the open, is by getting out of your head and into a support group or a family member or a safe friend or a sibling that you can trust. It's getting it out there, because when it's inside, I want to add Cindy Prost wants to add 2 ingredients to Brene Brown's recipe for shame. And I think they are isolation and darkness. In the darkness, in the physical darkness, lights out, no TV on, that is a place where I think shame can grow, and in isolation. So how do we break those 5 ingredients that cause shame? How do we break it? We break it by being heard, being seen, being loved despite our stuff. And that's why you go to a safe person. That's why you speak out. That's why you go to a therapist or whatever it is that you need to do to get out of that dark place. Turn the lamp on. Go into a place where there's music. Get out of the environment that is producing more and more and more shame. Whenever there's an area of healing that we seek, how I have seen healing come is through counterintuitive steps. So opposite steps. So if you are seeking to lose weight, a method of achieving what you're hoping for could be fasting, could be the exact opposite of what your issue is. If you are shy, you might, and of course I'm always thinking about God. God will put you into a situation, if you are truly seeking healing in this area, where he gives you counterintuitive steps, which are always painful, always challenging, always difficult, but will provide exactly what your heart's desire is. So if you're shy or quiet or introverted and you want to do something opposite of what you're used to, not necessarily saying that anybody who are those 3 things want to, but if you do, then he might put you in an area where you are a public speaker, or where you are the person chosen to give a presentation at your work. He will put you in position to get the healing that you're desiring. If you are messy, he'll have you clean. If you are clean and a control freak, he'll have you not make the bed. It's awesome. It's really how it works. So when you are in a dark place, he wants you to speak out. When you are isolated, he wants you to go to others. When you are keeping things secret, he wants you to take the step of getting it out there. Okay, so this is the part that could be challenging, but I'm going to do it. I want to share with you how somebody that I know and love has chosen to take a counterintuitive step and get out of a place that is painful and has been for a very long time. It's my daughter. My oldest daughter has given me full permission to share anything with you that I feel is important, and so I'm going to do that. I appreciate her courage and her bravery in allowing this. She has suffered depression, has battled depression for years and years and years, and a lot of times her depression is her thinking and being isolated and being secret and fearing judgment, fearing that she won't be loved or seen or heard with these challenges, with these issues in her life. And she has been alone in that for a very, very long time. She took a counterintuitive step this last time that she was battling. And she has given me permission, like I said, to share with you a post that she put on Instagram in an attempt to not stay silent, in an attempt to not let the thinking turn into a rabbit trail of more and more pain and more lies. She took the step, the counterintuitive step, to get out of that place for the first time. For the first time, this is victory. So I'm, with her permission, going to read the post that she made on Instagram. After being depressed, having very dark thoughts and scary thoughts and fearful thoughts from looking at Facebook, looking at Twitter, looking at Instagram, looking at Chapsnat, of everything that looks and appears to be perfect out in the outside world. This is what she posted. This, and by the way, I'm going to censor it just a little bit for to respect my audience, but I don't want to disrespect her emotion and her feelings in this, so I'm just going to put a bleep instead of what her intense language was because of the place where she was. This is a scary post for me. I don't really know why I'm writing it, but I've been laying in bed alone, crying for a few hours now. I'm crying because I'm lonely and scared. I'm scared I'll never meet anybody or be in love. I'm crying because I don't feel adequate enough compared to my coworkers. Comparison is an evil. Comparison is another tactic of the enemy to get you to believe lies about yourself. I'm crying because I hate the way I look more than the majority of the time. Blank. How's that for honest? I was just scrolling down my own Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and realized that no one would know that I do any of this so often, that I cry. No one would know the burdens of my heart. No one would know how hard it is just to go through a normal day, because we don't post this stuff. And for good reason. This feels like blank torture right now. I think we should. I wished, as I was scrolling tonight, I felt less alone. I wished we posted not only good times, but shitty times too. I don't know. So that's why I'm posting this, in case anyone else is scrolling and feeling anything but perfect and wants to know they're not alone. You're not. As a result of posting those heartfelt emotions and pain and struggles and challenges, Kyle received 35 plus responses of love and encouragement and truth about who she is, not just words to blow smoke up her butt, but true emotion of the people that loved her. It changed her. It brought her the validation that she needed, the Me Too experience that she needed. It killed her shame. The validation killed her shame. It is so important to be courageous, to speak out there, to get what's in the dark, what's looming and growing and amplified within the dark, out into the light, because that's where truth can be heard. That's where you can experience that somebody else has been suffering from those exact same things. That's where we can unite as sisters and brothers, where we can say, you don't have to go through this alone. This could be the antidote to suicide. It could be. I think suicide happens so often because people stay in that dark place, stay in that isolated place, stay in that place of lies. It is my desire to reach every person out there with truth. There's a scripture verse. It is John 8:32. It says, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Free. Do you want that freedom? Do you want to not suffer from the thoughts that constantly, what's the word I want to use? Just fill your brain and your mind and your day and your thinking. Do you want freedom from that? There is truth. There is truth as a reality, and there is truth as a person. That person is Jesus Christ. He's amazing. He doesn't judge you. I know that some of us think that being a Christian means following rules and that there is a strict and strident way to live. It is everything but that. There is an opportunity for freedom, to walk in freedom with him. If you don't have a safe person to reach out to, if you don't feel like anybody would understand you, reach out to me. I'm here. Reach out to me via Messenger. Put a post here online if you're willing to. Maybe as a Me Too validation to Kyle. I hear you. I'm so thankful that I didn't read your post personally, but I'm hearing it now through your mom, and it spoke to me, and it brought me some healing, and it brought me some hope, and it brought me some encouragement. Put something in the comment line so that she can see that, so she can continue to get that. Anyways, I believe that the courage that Kyle took to reach out is going to change lives, and has changed lives, and will continue to change lives. So I, for one, am thankful for her courage and her willingness to take a counterintuitive step. I want to finish with a scripture verse. It's Psalm 34:18, and it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Are you crushed in spirit? Are you brokenhearted? He's close to you. He wants to be close to you. I know that sometimes we think he's the farthest thing from what we need or want because we can't see or feel him. I, for one, have experienced his closeness when I have been brokenhearted and when my spirit has been crushed, and there's nothing like it. Okay. I pray that today you are encouraged. I pray that today you feel seen and heard. I pray that today you feel loved despite what you're going through, despite what has happened to you, despite what you have done in your past, your regrets, your shame, your disappointments, your pain, whatever it is. I pray that you feel heard today. I pray that this gives you courage to walk out this day on a different path, with a different frame of mind, with some hope in your spirit. I pray that for you as you go today. And thank you so much for being here today. Please share this. If you feel like it will meet anybody where they're at right now, please share. And I will see you next Thursday. I pray that you will have an awesome day and that you will be encouraged. Bye.